You're listening to ND Works, a new podcast for the Notre Dame campus community, produced by the Office of Internal Communications. We're the team that brings you ND Works Weekly, ND Works Quarterly, The Week at ND, and a passion for sharing clear, concise, and interesting information with faculty and staff of the University of Notre Dame. I'm Jenna Liberto, Director of Internal Communications, and I'm glad you're listening. Twice each semester, our team, which primarily focuses on digital communication, publishes a newspaper. ND Works Quarterly contains news and campus updates and is also a way for you to learn about the programs and people making an impact on the university. Like the Transformational Leaders Program. In our cover story, we introduce you to the faculty and staff who serve as the heart of this scholars program. Listen in to hear why they're inspired by Notre Dame's next generation. It's a wide-open room filled with study tables and comfy chairs with colorful pillows. There are snacks in baskets beneath inspirational signs and plenty of outlets for phone and laptop charging. The wall art is eclectic, yet intentional, chosen to represent diverse cultures and the beauty of the human race. A local coffee shop? That's not far off, at least in terms of ambiance. This space has seriously good vibes that embrace you as soon as you walk through the open doorway. And that's exactly the point.
We take our commitment to the development of the person to mean something more complete. And you need the help of everybody to do that, and you need guides along the way to help people find their paths.
Maria McKenna is a professor of the practice in Africana Studies and the Institute of Educational Initiatives. She also serves as director for the Ann Bryce Scholars Initiative and the Transformational Leaders Program. She and 7 other full-time colleagues represent varied experiences and expertise from across the Notre Dame campus. Together, they're building a concept centered on investing in students as the university's most important and precious resource, while acknowledging that not all students come to higher education with the same preparation or resources. Working with the Enrollment Division, undergraduate education, and scholars programs across campus, McKenna's team identifies and invites first-generation, under-resourced, or differently prepared students to join. The program, which started in 2021 with about 250 students, has grown to almost 400. TLP is on track to double that number in the coming years. The goal, to help each scholar reach their full academic and personal potential while staying healthy, grounded, and connected.
Whether that's a chance to have a funded internship to do a global professional experience, or to make a connection more easily to the first generation career community within the Career Center, or to find just that perfect mentor or faculty member or staff member to provide a little bit of extra support along the way. So we hope that our students find their people and their spaces more easily.
The support each person receives can be as unique as the students themselves. TLP provides access to mentoring, academic support, education and outreach specialists, as well as community building activities. It works alongside advisors across campus, the Office of Student Enrichment, and the Center for Student Support and Care to help students navigate the resources that exist in different corners of campus. Support might also look like a potluck for students who can't go home on a holiday, or transportation for a future leader with an off-campus internship. For program manager Tracy Nisley, it feels like building bridges.
So I was a first-generation minority student at IU in Bloomington. I had no idea what higher education world looked like. I knew that I wanted to graduate in 4 years to reduce my debt. I didn't have a home program, and my time with Notre Dame, there's always been a capacity of serving others, and this is kind of my sweet spot. So this is a full circle moment for me to be able to serve the students that I was, and to use the resources and connections that I've made at Notre Dame and with the community to serve the students better.
Nisley recalls a community building exercise during which TLP students shared their journeys with each other.
And to hear pieces of their stories that were pieces of my stories and pieces of each other's stories, that there can be community around painful moments that turn into healing and to turn into resilience, and to hear the power of their stories and to know that the things I went through, you usually hope that there's a reason for it, right? And for me to be able to identify with them in a capacity, but to know each of our staff members too have those moments of identifying with these students, because they had moments like that as well. So it's just fulfilling. It's a sweet spot where I get to do work that I enjoy, but I get to go home at the end of the day and feel like there was real tangible impact.
I think that those of us that work here make an effort to see each person as an image of God.
Father Joe Kapura serves as Associate Director of Education and Outreach for the Transformational Leaders Program, but much prefers to think of himself as a grandfather figure. It's the lens through which Father Joe frames his life and his work as he gives words to the energy that's present, yet hard to describe, in the room occupied by TLP.
I think part of the energy is that the students know how to find each other, because they all have had difficulties, but they just find each other. The way that people find each other. That may not be universally true, but I think part of the reason why it's working so well is they're with each other, and they're totally at home with each other, and there's nothing to defend or nothing to be bravado about. It's just them. I don't know. I think about that a lot. Like, to be honest, it should not have worked so well so fast. So we have to attribute that to God, but also to them.
At home with each other, students gather and build community in this inviting space that's situated in the most iconic building on campus. A gift, according to McKenna, to be given a place in the main building, a visible representation of the university's commitment to first-generation and under-resourced students. The program is located inside the Office of Institutional Transformation on the building's second floor, furnished with unique, eye-catching pieces that, just like the students, have their own story to tell. Collected from departments and buildings all across campus, they've found a new home and a new purpose. The same could be said for the program's passionate leaders.
No, you ask, what's the thing I love most about my job? The thing I love most about my job is when a student pops their head in my door, knocks on my door, and I'm in the middle, there's something and they're like, do you have a minute? And when they ask if you have a minute, the answer always needs to be yes. Because they're about to show you a drawing that they just completed for the first time for an architecture class. Or they're about to tell you about an opportunity they've got to shadow a physician at Cleveland Clinic. Or they close the door and the tears come because they had something happen back home that they need somebody to talk through and maybe find them some other resources. So the best parts of my day are when a student knocks on my door and says, do you have a minute? Because I get to say yes. And our staff get to say yes.
What do Notre Dame students have to say about their experience in the Transformational Leaders Program? Pick up a copy of ND Works Quarterly to read more. You'll also find a great story about Father Dan Grudy in this issue. As the Vice President and Associate Provost for Undergraduate Education, you likely know about his passion for the student experience, but you might not guess he's an accomplished woodworker, or that he used to have his eye on competing in the Olympics in a particular winter sport. We'll be back next month with more news and stories by and for Notre Dame employees. Until then, I'm Jenna Liberto. Thanks for listening to ND Works.